Did Dark Future have the best miniature scale? So Dark Future is a Games Workshop game that a lot of people appear to have forgotten about, and hopefully not you. I haven't. I've managed to remember it just about. Now, when I was a youngster and I saw Dark Future, I got it confused with another sort of post-apocalyptic car game, and that was Thunder Road by MB Games. Now, a few of you might have had that. I remember playing it at my middle school? It's a school day today. Middle school open day. I think they were known as toy days, where you were allowed to bring in your own toys, and a friend of mine brought in Thunder Road. But I digress, we're talking about Dark Future. So anyway, I saw it in some shop windows, and I thought that looks like a very good game. I really like the art style of it, so much that I actually have a poster of it in my studio. You can't see it at the moment. It is up there, just facing the other way. Now, some people will tell you, myself included, that these games were most probably based on the Mad Max movies. Probably more the second and third as opposed to the first, with all the sort of strange vehicles which had been souped up or converted and driving around those dusty roads of Australia in the wasteland, I think is what they call it, don't they? Is it the wasteland? Have you got to say it like that? It's the wasteland. And then you had your evil man, the Lord Humongous. He is gravely disappointed in the fact that he's gravely disappointed in my singing, I imagine. He's gravely disappointed that you don't own a copy of Dark Future. Now, Dark Future, the game, the original game, the board game, the car game, came with some little plastic cars, and these were around the size of Matchbox or Hot Wheels cars. Did I say they were plastic? I think I've already said they were plastic. And they came with some little weapons and things that you could plug in around the vehicle, which made them look a bit like the cars from the Roadblaster video game. Roadblasters, I do apologise. Does anyone remember that one? That reminds me of Dark Future as well. If you wanted to play the video game version of Dark Future, don't play the new one, that looks terrible. Play Roadblasters, that was good. The music was amazing as well. Now, later on down the road, a few months later, they added some infantry miniatures to Dark Future, and these would play bystanders or pedestrians or even police out and about. Maybe you'd get out of your car and have some hand-to-hand fisticuffs. And in this video, we're taking a look at those infantry miniatures, and the strange thing is they're not in heroic scale, they're in a normal, sensible scale, and I want to know if you think it's a better scale than the heroic scale with the big hands and the puffy heads. You know how it is. In 1988, Games Workshop released some miniatures for their upcoming Dark Future game. These miniatures were infantry and some bikes. The infantry would cost you £2.50 for 8, whereas the bikes would cost you £2.50 for 3. So the first infantryman appears to be either asleep or a casualty. I do love these old casualty miniatures. Next up, we have a policeman of sorts with a strange weapon that appears to be half shotgun, half flamer. The next gentleman I cannot work out at all. His head is very red. I can't quite work out if he has a red face, if he has a mask on, or if that is a Scotsman with a big red beard and red hair and mutton chops around his face. If any of you know what this is, then please let us all know. Next up is another policeman. I do like the addition of the handcuffs there at his waist. That is some nice fine detail. A cowboy up next with a lovely pair of pink trousers and what at first glance looks like a las gun is actually apparently a grenade launcher. Next up we have Elvis, or someone who reminds me a lot of Elvis. I think he has a pose there where he may be reaching for a concealed weapon.
Another policeman up next, and obviously the policemen were a big part of the Dark Future game. Your typical 80s gang member now. I do like this moustache. He looks like he should be in an 80s rock band of sorts. A blonde mohawked punk up next, and I do like the look of that metal codpiece he's wearing. I might get myself one of these to wear while I'm painting. Emperor Palpatine up next with his signature minigun. Everyone remembers the part in Star Wars where Emperor Palpatine mows down hordes of Ewoks with a minigun. No, I'm not actually sure what this is. Is it an early Chaos Cultist? Were Chaos Cultists even in Dark Future? What appears to be a SWAT member from the scene in Die Hard where they tried to storm the building up next. He has the smallest pistol that I've ever seen on a Games Workshop miniature. However, I'm not sure what he's doing with his left hand. A guy up next who reminds me of Billy from Predator with the world's best poncho. Is this the only Games Workshop miniature that wears a poncho? Let us know in the comments below. Some of the blondest hair going on the next miniature here, and she also has some lovely red and white striped trousers. I do like the way the paint from the boots has sort of dripped onto the base there, making her right leg look as if it might be melting a touch. Another character up next that I swear I have seen before somewhere, maybe in some artwork. She does remind me a little of the young lady in the Conan movie. I forget her name. Is it something to do with Valkyrie? I may be wrong. I'm sure you guys will let me know. Another gentleman asleep on the job or dead up next. Not 100% sure. This next casualty miniature looks like he is crying like a baby in the corner, or he may just be asleep. This one definitely looks more asleep than dead. Maybe there's like an unconscious setting in the game. Who knows? A young lady in animal print trousers with an RPG. A very, very cool miniature, and it also appears as if she's giving us the finger, which is pretty damn amusing. Yes, I do like this miniature a lot. A Mexican-style cowboy up next with dual-toting pistols, and I think these chaps look lovely. They look a bit like the chaps from the new Eldar Rangers to me. Very cool. I do like his red jacket. Another blonde mohawked punk up next with a weapon that I can't quite tell what it is. It looks like a black piece of metal rod, but remember these miniatures are very small. A Jawa up next whose hood has come off from running so fast. If you ever wanted to know what a Jawa looked like without his hood, then here you are. Nope, I think this may be another one of those cultist miniatures. Another 80s rocker up next in some wonderful denim jeans. This guy is also toting a shotgun and an amazing red headband. Another young lady out on the town with a machine gun of sorts, and she does appear to be wearing Super Mario's hat. It even has the little name badge on the top there. Very interesting. I do wonder what this actually is. Maybe it's a beret of sorts. Another policeman up next, and he does have a wonderful cap. These remind me a little of the policeman from RoboCop, but maybe made to look a bit more fascisty, perhaps. Another blonde mohawk army looking gang chap here who appears to be firing his RPG in a manner that looks more like a rifle. Are you supposed to sort of mount those a little bit more on your shoulder, or is this the normal way to fire an RPG? It doesn't quite look right to me. This looks like another Star Wars character up next. I can't remember his name. I think he was either in Jabba's palace, definitely somewhere on Tatooine. I do like his red headband. Not quite sure if that's a bandolier or a scabbard of sorts for a knife at his waist there. Now the only one in the set which is a chap wearing some red coveralls with some boots. He looks like he's either some sort of fireman or wearing some kind of hazmat suit. I'm not 100% sure. Please let us know if you know. Another young lady with what appears to be a shotgun and some more animal print leggings. I see a lot of these myself nowadays. Here we have another young man who looks straight out of the Michael Jackson Beat It video, and he appears to have a machine gun of sorts and a lovely red bandana around his neck. Or is it a neckerchief? I never really did know which was which.
Now, you might have been wondering why I have this truck on the table. It's actually a Sylvanian family's wagon thing. I wanted to show it to you because, you know, Dark Future is a vehicles game, and this is a vehicle. It's a bit big to play Dark Future with, sadly, but there's an interesting little tidbit on the moulded in details on the bottom here, and it says, if you're enjoying this video, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. That means you, Samantha. If you are enjoying the content on this channel, then please consider joining the Patreon, the link to which is in the description below or up there.
Another SWAT gentleman up now, and I do like the reflective look they've managed to achieve in his sunglasses there. I think that does look really cool. See, now I really am starting to wonder what is going on with these casualty miniatures. This guy looks less like a casualty and more like a chap that's just having a bit of a lay down. Now this guy definitely looks like a casualty. This is a policeman. Maybe he's definitely been shot by one of these other street punks, as it were. Chainsaw Warrior up next, or someone who appears to look a lot like the Chainsaw Warrior. Warrior? Warrior. It's very hard to say, actually. The difference between warrior and warrior is very close. I do like the camouflage on his legs, though. Another SWAT-themed gentleman up next with a weapon that really does look like a las gun. A policeman up next holding his RPG correctly now and not like a rifle like that punk chap was. At least someone is managing to hold their weapon correctly. Another Chainsaw Warrior looking guy up next who looks quite worried to be there. I do like the realistic look of his weapon there and his flak vest. I think that looks quite cool. Yet another blonde mohawked street thug up next, and he even has a little cross tattoo on his arm there. These mohawk guys remind me of the punks from the Streets of Rage computer game series that was on the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive. 10 internet cookies, if you can remember that game. Another Jawa, or Emperor Palpatine up next, firing his pistol. This is a very strange miniature. You can just about make out the face there, so I do wonder who these guys are. I am pretty sure that they are Chaos Cultists. Some bikes up now, and here's your typical Easy Rider style. I do love that huge chunky petrol tank on the front there of this first one. The rider also reminds me of a First World War pilot. A long distance looking motorbike up next. He has a lot of gear strapped to the back of this one. I do like his gas mask, definitely something out of Mad Max there. A fantastic sort of metallic purple motorbike up next, and I do like the Corellian blood stripes that this person is wearing. It's sort of a zigzag, almost Eldar Harlequin pattern going on there. I think this looks very nice indeed. A police bike up next, perhaps, with the 47 number on there. Have they accosted a racing motorcycle for their needs, or is that more a call sign or identification number? You tell me. A person up next with a very strange headpiece. From where I'm sitting, it looks like they have the end of a weapon barrel sticking out of the top of their head. I can't quite make out what it is. I'm assuming the weapon is behind them and it just looks like it's all one piece. Okay, maybe the left hand is holding a shotgun pointing upwards. That's probably what's going on there. I do apologise for my stupidity. A camouflage bike up last, and this one looks quite interesting indeed. I do like the way he's painted his bike to match his vest. This guy also appears to be one of the blonde Mohawk boys. I wonder what their official gang name was. Also of note, there were some turrets available with infantry in. They both had a minigun of sorts. Firstly, you could get yourself a policeman, and then also there was an Orlok Ganger, apparently, popping out of the top hatch. I do wonder what that logo is on the front of his bandana. It looks to be either a white dot or maybe even a skull.
So they were some of the first Dark Future Infantry miniatures. What did you think of those? Which do you think was the best sculpt? Was it one of the Street Fighter alikes? Did you have any of these Dark Future Infantry miniatures? Did you want any of these Dark Future Infantry miniatures? You may have seen them on blisters, in racks, in Games Workshop back in the day. What did you name your gang in Dark Future? Do you think those strange miniatures were Jawas or El Poratorto, you know, that well-known chap who played Dark Future back in the game? Back in the game? Dear oh dear. Did those miniatures look more like Jawas or Emperor Palpatine? That's what I was trying to say. Now, I think it's an interesting scale when they go with a realistic scale as opposed to the heroic scale. I actually think they look better. You might not have as many details, but they look less cartoony to me, and that's always good, in my opinion. Also, there was some more casualty miniatures, or they were either asleep or injured, and that's something, again, we don't seem to see much of today. Bring back the casualty miniatures. Now, Dark Future, sadly, has disappeared into the sands of time. There is a game available on Steam, which I think is terrible from what people tell me. However, the board game is long gone, and I'd like to see it return. Hopefully this will be something Specialist Games from Games Workshop sort out in the near future. I haven't heard any rumours, sadly. No one said anything about it ever coming back, and I think that's a shame. If you want to see some more Oldhammer videos, and I know you do, then check out the playlist up here somewhere. As always, thank you very much for watching, and always remember to drill your barrels.